At 8:07 on my 18th birthday, my mom walked into my room without knocking, set a leather folder on my blanket, and said, "We need to talk about that money. No, happy birthday, no smile." She even had a coffee mug in her hand, just not for me. By the time the morning was over, I had her caught on speakerphone trying to take my trust before I'd even brushed my teeth. My grandma died 2 years earlier and left me a $420,000 trust that became accessible at 18. Accessible was my mom's favorite word for months. Not college, not your future, just when it's accessible, we can stabilize things. By 16, she was already using my diner paychecks for groceries, so I knew what stabilize meant in our house. In hospice, my grandma squeezed my wrist and whispered, "Access isn't ownership." So the night before my birthday, at 8:41 p.m., I called the trust officer. I met him after school with a notary, and at 9:20 I signed to lock the trust into a structure that paid tuition, housing, medical, and approved living expenses. Big withdrawals needed independent review. No lump sum, no family plan draining it in a weekend. At midnight, my family still put on a show. My stepdad raised his glass and said I was finally old enough to make mature decisions. My mom smiled too hard, sharp around the eyes, like money was close enough to smell. I smiled, cut the cake, and said, "We'll talk numbers tomorrow." My mom looked relieved. Let her. At 8:07 the next morning, she opened the folder like she was chairing a board meeting. Inside were tabs: household, stepdad, stepbrother, stabilization, and last, a thin tab for me. The first page had a typed header: post-access allocation plan. Priority 1, my stepdad's business debt. Priority 2, my stepbrother's legal fees from a bar fight 2 months earlier. Priority 3, household security reserve. Priority 4, replace the family car. Priority 5, education for me as appropriate after family obligations. My future was literally fifth. My mom slid a signature page toward me. It said historic support and voluntary first distribution. Like fancy wording made it less gross. She tapped the line and said, "This keeps things clean." I said, "No, it keeps things deniable." Then I asked, "Have you talked to the trust officer?" My mom's eyes narrowed. "We don't need him in private family planning." That was when I said, "The money's locked." My stepdad laughed once. "You can't lock your own trust." I looked at him. "He can." My mom went stiff. "You had no right to do that without discussing it with me." My stepbrother drifted into the doorway, barefoot and annoyed, and asked, "Did she get the money or not?" My phone buzzed. The trust officer. I put it on speaker. He said my name, flat and official. Then, "Your mother called at 8:19 for conference authority." Next, she said you were emotionally unprepared to manage funds. Again, she claimed she was the intended decision maker. My mom said, "I was protecting her, like that fixed it." The trust officer didn't even sigh. "Your daughter protected herself last night," he said. "That's why you are not on the trust." He paused. Then he said, "Your grandmother left a letter released by interference." My mom snapped. "There are no secret letters." I stared at her folder and said, "That depends who it protected me from." The email hit, one scanned page, my grandma's handwriting. It started, "She wants access before your spine hardens." Then it got colder. "People who love you don't plan your future around debt, not before you even wake up on your birthday." I looked up from my phone and said, "You planned my money before breakfast." My mom tried, "I was protecting this family." I said, "You were trying to make me your emergency fund." My stepdad went for the classic, "Don't be dramatic. You're emotional." I stared at the tabs and said, "I signed legal documents before midnight. You walked in with tabs. Only one of us planned for me." That shut him up. They left with that folder still in my mom's hands like it meant something. And my birthday finally started with silence that actually felt safe. The trust paid for school and my first apartment. My stepdad's business stopped being unlucky when nobody else carried it. My stepbrother learned his one bad night still belonged to him. And my mom stayed mad until she switched to soft words that never included sorry. The best thing my grandma left me wasn't